Hi, welcome to Down the Track on MView TV. This is our second series on Jordan White Racing. Jordan, as you know, won the championship, the WA production class 400cc in 2021, 2022, the only 2 years he's entered. He's only a very young kid, he's only 16 years of age. He also entered the 600cc class last year, did very well. Well, this year he's even taken on a bigger challenge. He's entered the ASBK. Yes, that's right, the Australian Superbike Championship. Jordan's going to be racing at least 4 races on the East Coast, maybe more. He's got a brand new bike. I'm so excited to hear all about this and what this means for the team and what their plans are. Let's bring Jordan on and hear all about it. Hey Jordan, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Bruce. And yeah, just under the pump a bit with everything that's going on, and yeah, looking forward to getting things rolling.
There's obviously some very exciting things coming up with you. You were the state championship in the 400cc, state champion, I should say, in the 400cc last year and the year before. Also did very well in the 600cc last year, where you won the C-Class series. But this year you've got even some more exciting news. Tell us all about that, what your plans are for 2023.
So yeah, as of now, coming into the season, after talking with Dad and Mum, it looks like we're going to sort of retire from the Proddies, sort of leave that where we finished with it, and look on to some bigger and better things with more opportunities. Which is obviously, on one hand, it's a little bit sad to sort of leave it there, but I think it's an important thing to do with obviously the difference in bikes. And yeah, I'm happy with what I did with the Proddy, and all the things I achieved and all the memories I made, which is good. So unfortunately, I think that's it for the Proddy for now. But yeah, with the 600, I'm looking forward to this season. Obviously, I think I did quite well last year with the C grade championship, and yeah, everyone's getting really quick in the off season. Everyone's doing good times, and everyone's preparing like they usually do. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting on the track with the 600, and trying to improve those times that I set last year, and keep chipping away at the goal to get to the sub-minute, and then yeah, pushing and the pointy into things.
Right, okay, so you won't be racing the 400, you'll be racing the 600 still, and then of course you're going to take on a new challenge with the ASBK for a few rounds in 2023. Is that correct?
So yeah, with the ASBK, as of now, the plans are we'll try and join in sort of the second half of the season, because we've got a few things we need to iron out leading up to it. But yeah, ride in WA when we are permanently sort of thing. Then when we can try and get over east and do a couple of rounds there.
All right, so you've taken delivery of a brand new bike. Tell us about that. I'm going to bring up a few pictures as you're talking us through it. Brand new bike. Tell us all about it. You've picked it up from 5-star Yamaha, and here it is. Tell us what you've picked up and the exciting things all about it.
So yeah, not very long ago, we went and picked up a brand new Yamaha R7 from 5-star Yamaha, and yeah, it's a new bike. Only just been released really in the last year or two, and yeah, the plan is to race prepare it and have that over east and do the class, the Super Twin class. And with a bit of luck, the new class, it'll be a bit of an easier gap to bridge than just going straight into a 600 where everyone's got they're all dialed in, and it's just a bigger step. So the idea is the R7 will be an easier step to bridge and be able to be a bit more competitive and have a bit more fun on it.
Right, okay, so a brand new bike, and you said the bike itself is brand new on the market. You said it's not very old itself?
No, they have only done like a few seasons of producing them. So it's the same motor of the MT-07, but they finally put it into a road bike chassis of like a typical road bike instead of a naked stand-up bike.
So for me, as you know, and a lot of your new fans out there, which you're getting through this series, was the Yamaha the only choice, or was that what you chose to go with the Yamaha?
So no, Yamaha isn't the only choice. the Ninja 650 is an option, but Yamaha I think is probably one of the better options to go for. Seems like a bit more of a dialed in race oriented bike, and obviously with all the support that Yamaha have out there, I think that Yamaha is a better bike, and obviously riding the R6, I've developed a bit of a soft spot for Yamaha as well. Yeah, I think they're good bikes, and looking forward to getting out there and having a bit of fun.
And so, what's your plans? You're going to do X amount of rounds. I think you mentioned maybe 4, and they are. I think they're all on the East Coast. You may do a round on WA. Um, so, what's your plans? You'll base the bikes on the East Coast, or you'll ship it backwards and forwards, or what are you going to do?
So as of now, we're still trying to work things out because of the logistics side is really hard. But the idea is now that we'll be able to have the bike set up and then be able to leave it over there at like a central location, and then just be able to ship it between the rounds, and then we don't have to worry about driving over anything. We'll be able to fly in, fly out. And then, hopefully with that, if that can all get ironed out and all sorted, we'll be able to do the second half of this season, and then hopefully try and do the whole season in 2024.
So, apart from a brand new bike, brand new competition for you, is going to be racing on brand new tracks that you haven't raced on before.
Yeah, exactly. That's another reason that we wanted to do the Super Twins with the R7, is that obviously it's still a bigger bike than the Prodi in the engine displacement wise, but it's a little bit of a obviously easier to master in a sense that the 600 would be really hard to learn on any track, being a bigger bike, really heavy, really fast. So the idea is with the R7 to be able to go there and be a bit easier to learn the tracks, and hopefully be a little bit more competitive.
So it's very much a strategic decision to go with the R7 then.
Yeah, and we did think about doing a 600 full time over there and going in the super sport class, but the riders over there are really good, and they've been riding 600s for a long time. It would almost be like throwing yourself in the deep end if I don't think I'm quite ready. So hopefully we'll sort of get in and around on the R7, and then be able to go from there.
All right, we can see here you are pulling into 5-star Yamaha, which obviously is supporting you there. There's your new bike. You've got it back home for the first time. I must say I love the blue. I don't know if you're going to keep it blue or not. Are you? I'm going to ask you that right now.
Right, so can you say that again? I lost you for a bit.
I love the colour of the bike, the blue. Is it going to stay blue, or are you going to change colours?
It's going to stay blue for a little bit. We need to put some hours on the bike before we start properly race readying it. But when we get the fairings will be black. But in the not so distant future, should I say, we will be painting it, and I think we will keep the Yamaha blue.
Oh, so it's a Yamaha blue, is it? Is that what it's called, a Yamaha blue?
Yeah, just the colour that they put on their bikes when they come from factory.
Right, I must love it. There you are on the bike. You've got it at home. You jumped on it as soon as you possibly can, riding it off. What surprised me is that you've taken it for a quick lap around your property there, but then it's straight into the garage and straight, you're pulling it apart, you're modifying it. It's like you've only had it at home for an hour, and already you and your dad, crew chief dad, Dan, you're working on it. So what are you doing here?
So, yeah, as you said, we hadn't had the bike very long at all, and we already had like a little stash of things that we had bought for it. So obviously a bit curious to see what the new bike goes like with all these different bits. So straight up into the shed, straight onto the bike table, and pulling it apart. And here's where we're putting on the new exhaust, obviously, because the standard exhausts are restrictive, not to mention quiet. So me and Dad are up there putting the new exhaust on and trying to suss things out and get it to fit, because there was a little bit of fiddling that we needed to do.
Okay, so with the new exhaust, you mentioned apart from it's a bit quiet, but that's obviously not the reason why you're changing the exhaust. there must be a performance advantage to go to this new exhaust.
Yeah, of course. The new exhaust comes with it's like a decat exhaust, so you don't have your catalytic converter in there, and then they flow a little bit better, so you can get more horsepower out of the bikes in the once they get all tuned up. And yeah.
What else are you going to change on the bike, or what else are you allowed to change on the bike?
I haven't really looked at the rules yet. I sort of leave that up to Dad, because he sources all the parts for it. But it's just the simple things for now, really, just to get it track ready. Is things like your clip-ons for your handlebars, hopefully some suspension soon, and then rear sets to bring the foot pegs up, and then fairings, and then that way we can at least get it on the track. And once we get it to that base level, then we'll start doing the little intricate things that give you more performance.
So when do you hope to have all those modifications done and take it for a ride down the track for the first time?
Well, hopefully it should be done by end of March, and then be able to make an appearance in the Wanneroo 3-hour endurance race. But if that doesn't happen, it'll be definitely done by April. And yeah, it's just a couple of weeks to get some of the parts sourced in, like fairings and things like that.
So the Wanneroo 3-hour endurance race, you're going to enter that, you've just mentioned.
Yeah, with a bit of luck, so we have to do sorting things out, like which event we're going to enter in, because there's two things like that, and then you need to organise a partner and which bike I'm going to ride. Obviously, with the Go Motor Store R6 being around, so the plan is to enter that, but still a few more things we need to sort out and plan for.
Sure. Okay, you've put the new exhaust on. Let's have a listen to it. I can imagine that must have been very loud in your garage there.
Yeah, it definitely isn't a quiet system for sure, but I like the sound. It's quite loud and obnoxious, but at least it makes the sound.
Okay, so the East Coast, you're racing on the East Coast, maybe do a race in WA. What are you trying to achieve out of the season? What are your goals for racing? You're not going to do the whole series in the ASBK, because you're just dipping your toes in the water, so to speak. So for the 4 or 5 races that you do enter, what are you trying to achieve out of that? What are your goals?
So for this season, I'd really look at it as an opportunity to get up to pace and get familiar with the tracks and the scene and the new class and the bike and things like that. I wouldn't really, set my hopes too high, obviously, because you're just coming into it with a bike that you have no data with and things like that. So I really just want to get out there and be comfortable, and obviously be fast, because that's the only reason you ride and racing. And yeah, ride fast and have fun.
Have fun, definitely the key. So what, for your viewers and your fans out there, when can we expect you to see you in your first ASBK race? You said the latter half of the year, so what are we talking about? What month?
Well, if everything goes to plan and we run into no hiccups, once the bike gets all ready, we've sorted out the logistical problems, and obviously tried to secure a couple new sponsors to come on board for funding purposes. I would say June, July, October, that sort of time, to get it out there. But yeah, it depends on all those things really to when you get out, because obviously it's not just a straightforward thing. There's lots to sort out. And yeah,
it's not a case of just driving down the road to Wanneroo anymore. Now you've got to get a bike and crew backwards and forwards across the East Coast, the West Coast. Lots of logistics, as you've already mentioned. Lots of cost, as you already mentioned. So yeah, definitely, if there's any sponsors out there, any supporters that are considering dipping their toe into ASBK, then Jordan White Racing is probably a very good avenue for you. Before we close off, is there any, let's say, milestones you want to achieve? We said goals. You just want to go there and have fun and all that sort of stuff. But is there one particular thing that if you achieve it for the year, you think we've achieved what we set out to do?
In WA, I'd really like to be on pace with the top four in the 600s. I'm happy with how I did last year, but sort of, I got to a reasonable time, I'd say, around like lap wise, but I really wanted to push a bit further and be a little bit closer to the front runners. So, obviously, personally, I'd want to be running around the top four. Sort of the sort of point is where I want to be, and I think is where I need to be to improve in WA. I think it's a reasonable goal, and obviously very hard still, but it's workable and easy to work towards. Is just the name of the game. And over East, I would say, just to be on pace and to be able to experience it would be a big achievement, and good all around.
Last year, you did the 400cc, the Proddies as you call, the state championship, and also the 600cc. So you were racing quite a lot. At any event, you're racing both bikes, which meant 6 times, I think, on the track in any given event. So that means this year you'll be racing a little bit less as far as being on the track
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, exactly. Every day, every race event, even in training, I'll be spending a little bit less time on track, which I don't know. You can look at it two ways. You're either a little bit more fresh and have a little bit more energy reserved for racing, and it's a little bit more cruisy. But I also like the fact that when I was riding the other bike, I was on the track twice as much as some people, and I sort of felt that was an advantage in my favour, is that being able to, look at the track more often and be able to suss things out in tricky conditions is one thing that I really like. So, yeah, doing some less track time, whether it's an advantage, I don't know. We have to wait and see.
Yeah, I guess there's pros and cons to everything. To take the next step up, you're focusing on one particular class, as you said, the ASBK with your new bike, which means you've dropped the Proddies, so you may not be on the track as much, but it's a step that you need to take to become, I won't say a better rider, you're obviously a great rider already, but to actually take the next step in the next level, which is the ASBK. And so if it means less time on the track, but you're focusing on one class, then I can understand what you're doing there.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a hard decision to make, obviously, because I really enjoy riding the Proddy, and it's really, really fun bike to ride, obviously. All the development we put into the suspension and things like that, and sort of catered it to how I wanted it to be. Yeah, it's really enjoyable and have good fun, but I think it's for the best in the long run.
So the Proddy bike, is that on the market?
Yeah, we have got it for sale on Facebook, and yeah, it is on the market. I would hate to see it go, but yeah, you need the funds in racing.
Well, anyone out there wants a state championship bike that's been developed to be a lap record holder, 2-time state championship bike, then get in touch with Jordan and the team, because you're going to step on a bike that's already been proven. Jordan, anyone
Yeah, for
you
sure.
want to thank?
Really like the bike.
Yeah, I can imagine it's going to be a bike that's got your 2 state championships, and now you're going to have to let it go. But that's all a part of moving forward, I guess. To close off, anyone you want to send out any thanks to before we go?
Yeah, of course, the sponsors that I've got for this season coming up so far with the Go Moto Store race team, for the give me the bike to ride for this season. The R6 is really big help, and obviously helps a lot being a part of the team. Of course, Track Action Moto Ride Days for coming aboard again this year, and I'm looking forward to getting some track time under my belt with them in the coming weeks, because need to get out and track. And Speed Fit Canning Vale for obviously staying with me and going to keep me fit for the season coming up, and of course MVU TV for all the help and coverage that they give you.
Thanks, Jordan. It's been great to have you on our first show of Series 2. To let all the viewers know, we're going to be focusing, Series 2 is going to be focusing on Jordan's endeavours in the ASBK. We may cover some of the other racing he's doing in Wanneroo. Let's see how that works out, but we really are going to focus on MVU TV is going to try and help out Jordan White Racing as much as we can. He's going to need sponsors to make this successful. We're going to help him out in that regard as much as we can, and really looking forward to see where Jordan can take his career, because this is it's a gutsy move, it's a bold move, but definitely one that just proves where Jordan's head is at. He wants to take on the best, he wants to take on the challenges. He's won a couple of state championships, now he wants to even go further on that. So Jordan, thanks for being on the show. Looking forward to talking to you again. We're going to see what other developments you do in the bike, modifications, get all them done when you get it on the track for the first time and take it around in Wanneroo and see how you go with that. And then we'll come back to you and you can tell us all about it.
Looking forward to it, Bruce, and of course, my pleasure to be on here.
Thanks, Jordan. We'll talk again soon. Thanks all.